and I cannot explain this enough. We are back and we are Black. And if you are listening to this, you are lucky because you are technically in the future, which not only means that you're getting this interview with Preston Mitchum from Black Summer House, aka Summer House Martha's Vineyard, but you have been listening to the Beyonce country album. It's not even a country album, it's a Beyonce album. Someone from the future telepathically let me know, like an X-Men, how is this album going? How is the Jolene, I heard it's not even a cover, how is this Jolene song? How is everything going? For right now, we are equally excited because we have Preston, like Summer House reality TV extraordinaire, Black history historian, doesn't like to talk about, doesn't like to say Black excellence, but we gonna call it like it is, Black excellence right here on the pod. We're so happy because we have loved this person since this person came on our screens on Summer House Martha's Vineyard, which was a hit for us out of nowhere. Season 2 is even a bigger hit. You made a great impression by not only being funny, charming, knowledgeable, relatable, fantabulous, but you also have been so nice to us at BravoCon and also agreeing to, not only is he here for an interview, you guys, but he's also going to co-host with us. Preston Mitchum, welcome to Bravo. We're Black.
Welcome. Talk about the best introduction I think I've ever received.
Can't use those introductions, but we are really excited to have you here, honestly. Like, out of everybody, I'd say I'm like, we have to get Preston on this podcast immediately.
Thank y'all so much. No, it is. Now, I remember meeting y'all at BravoCon, and it was just honestly just such a great thing. And then I think like every time I just start following along with what y'all are like writing, I'm like, they're hilarious. Like, let me tap into this. We know Black folks watch Bravo all the time. We don't have many things dedicated to Black folks watching Bravo. So I appreciate y'all.
And we appreciate you so much. And we're going to have such a good time today. Aaron, you can start us off with, we're going to do the interview and then we're going to talk about some things. We're going to talk about why us, you know what? Vote. Okay, this is going to be one of our pot stirrers. We want y'all, and this is a little bit messy, but let us know if you want us to start calling the other summer house White Summer House. Because to us, that's White Summer House.
You know what's funny to me? The fact that the AKA was the official name of the show. Because that means we do call it Black Summer House. In fact, when the cast, we just did this after party, we literally had on the sign Black Summer House. Like, we know who we are. We know exactly who we are.
So, I want to take it back to season 1, because we like to go back. What was your casting experience like when it comes to being casted on Summer House Martha's Vineyard?
Yeah, it was actually a pretty good casting experience for me. It was a long casting experience, I should say. But it kind of started back a couple of summers even before that, where a few of us who are actually on the show were on the vineyard, just kind of celebrating, living life. It was midsummer, so around July. And I kid you not, it's really interesting. We were going to this all-white party because Black folks love all-white parties. And so we were going to this like all-white party. We posted a picture. And someone messaged Jordan about a picture we posted and kind of was like, hey, I got details for y'all. Can't give y'all too many details, but just know we're kind of looking for a cast. Y'all kind of look like y'all will be lit as a cast. So holla at me if you want more information. We ignored him because who the hell sends Instagram posts like, we're like, that's not real, whatever. So we go back to our respective homes and he follows up with Jordan and is like, listen, this probably sounds like a joke, but we are actually too serious about this. And that's when Jordan messaged a few of us and was like, all right, y'all, like, it's actually kind of, it's actually sounding real. And then after that, we were in touch with casting directors and then producers from Truly Original or True Entertainment, and then folks from Bravo and NBC Universal. And that's kind of how she was born, right? Like, but it is fascinating to me because it was a very long process. And as someone who never really, with the exception of being 18, like I wasn't really into trying out for shows. even for this, I didn't really try out for, right? It kind of found me and found us, which I think makes it a little bit better, to be honest, because they found a group of friends who were already hanging out. And so, it's just fascinating to even be on this side. But I didn't know they'd be taking months. Like, I'm sure some people don't have that experience, but it was probably solidly like 6 months or so, from like meeting folks, talking to folks, figuring out obviously what our connections were. When you're doing reality TV, you also don't want everyone having the same personality because it wouldn't make sense. And so, those conversations took a very long time, but ultimately it was a really good experience for me.
And what were some of the concerns, or did you have any concerns like coming into a house with all these cameras and people filming like your life, every second of your life and interactions with people?
You know what? I wish that was my concern. That's, my biggest concern was actually that I already had a full-fledged career. And so, I was already an attorney. I had taught at 2 tier 1 law schools. I've been on CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, but I've been on there. I've been on so many things. And I'm like, okay, how seriously are people going to take my business savvy, political savvy, policy analytical self by doing reality TV? That was what I was really worried about more than anything. The cameras, for me, I've always considered myself pretty transparent online. I've always talked about my ups, my downs, my battles with depression and anxiety, my experiences with sexual assault and harassment. Like, I've been pretty transparent about who I've been, but obviously that is smaller in comparison to being on a network like Bravo, right, and NBC. So it was just different, but I felt like I hadn't seen anyone like me on TV before. And I really don't mean like a Black man, like maybe that's part of it, but I mean someone who's gone through the experiences I've gone through, someone who did not just want to be someone's accessory or the best friend, someone who had their own storyline, someone who actually was a whole ass individual person. And I just thought it would be a good opportunity, and those benefits for me outweigh whatever the risks were going to be.
Exactly. And you coming into the house too was so organic, and you're right, it was so different. I felt seen in a sense. I'm like, oh, this is somebody like me I can relate to. And like I said, it just happened so naturally. And it's one of the first times we really seen that. And we've seen also like a Black summer house in general, because we're so used to other shows like, regular summer house,
Right.
Housewives and stuff like that. All we really had was Married to Medicine and Housewives of Atlanta. And then, Potomac, Southern Charm, NOLA.
Right.
So, we were getting there.
Right.
But I was ready for us to have a Black summer house. So I'm glad that we have that now. And I'm glad that you're just representing for us, honestly.
No, I appreciate I'm not gonna get emotional. I am a double Pisces, so I can do that sometimes. But I will say that means a lot to me. The reality is I don't have to be here. Right. Like, there was something that the production company saw in me. There was something that the network saw in me. And there was something that my friends saw in me to even really keep uplifting me throughout this process to make sure that I made myself and made its way on TV. And the truth is, there are going to be hard moments. There are going to be irritating moments, right? The thing I realized, you can't escape yourself when you're filming for reality TV. You can lie all you want to, right? You can pretend things aren't how they are, but the truth is you cannot run away from yourself. And I had to be okay with that, right? I had to be okay with exposing my good parts and my bad parts, because it's easy for viewers to watch it, and always so grateful for viewers, right? Because there's always an analytical eye. There's always paying attention to storylines and how they develop. But the reality is not everyone can do reality TV, right? It's just not the case. You have to have a very, very thick skin. You have to know exactly who you are, or at least the versions who you purport to be. But at the end of the day, I was like, I'm grateful to be here because I don't have to have this platform. There was something that someone saw in me to have this platform. They thought I could manage whatever the stressful parts would be. And I have a very, very thick community and support people even before TV. And so, what else could it look like to now actually expand that beyond the folks who already knew me? Like, I'm living a good life right now. And I don't care. Even when the negative parts come, check on me, because I promise I will still be good. I will still be good.
That's right.
I gotta be. I know whose I am. And so, I'm grateful to have the platform.
they had to see something in you in order to cast you, right? Because there are so many people out there who would actually like dive at the chance to be on TV, especially a network as big as Bravo. But out of all of the people that they could have chose, they chose you and that group of people. And like you said, it took months to even really like get cast, right? And that's what we love about the show. The biggest thing that we stress when we watch at least Bravo is that we want authentic connections. And that's what we got. And that's why it is so emotional to watch you guys argue, but then also make up, because it's like, okay, these are people who really give a damn about each other.
Of course. And, you know, and I mean this in love, right? Because I'm friends with people on Potomac, but I think even in expressing some of my like feedback, I was like, I don't want our seasons to come off like this current season of Potomac, right? Because the reality is you can tell when people, and as someone who's watched reality for years, you can always tell when people stop genuinely getting along. Like you can, it's easy to identify, even if you've never done reality TV, but especially if you've done reality TV. And, you know, so I really want, we're, you've seen, right? We argue, right? We have our issues. But I think what sets us apart from a lot of TV shows, irrespective of networks, is that we really are friends and we really do find a way to come back together in the end because we value each other. And at the point where we don't, right, is where we'll really have to have those tough conversations of whether this is for us anymore. Because there are examples where you are friends with someone, you can be on reality TV, and you really start to have tension. And so sometimes the best way to maintain a friendship is to actually pull yourself from that, right? And so thankfully, we have not gotten there yet. And I pray that we don't. But, you know, truly only time will tell. But those are my people. You know, it's one of those situations where you have your family members and you're like, listen, I can talk about them. Don't you say nothing.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And speaking of, I want to know, since you brought up Potomac, what are some of your thoughts on this season of Potomac?
I mean, it's hard to watch. I mean, it's hard to, and I've been a Potomac watcher since season one. And there are some moments where it is genuinely challenging to watch. And it actually breaks my heart. And I don't mean that like in a hyperbolic way. Like some of these folks are genuinely, you know, they were friends, or at the very least were at least good colleagues. And so, you know, because we are working, right? We are working. And so I really hope they can figure it out. Even if obviously we know some of the shakeups that have already made its way to the public. But I do really sincerely hope they can figure out whatever their dynamics can be, including the ones who decided to leave. Because, you know, at the end of the life continues, right? Like, regardless of what we're filming and seeing, real life continues. But this season was challenging. It was challenging to watch. I mean, honestly, even Andy stated that, right, on the clip that was released today. And that's what you don't want, right? You want to be able to figure out what a resolve is. And until we watch the reunion, we don't know, of course, but I just really hope they reach a resolve.
Yeah, because like you said, you know, authentic relationships are what we look for in these shows a lot of the time. So I think if they get back to that and actually liking each other, then it'll be a much better show.
Or even being able to fake it good enough.
Yeah, I don't think they can do that.
You know, right.
So let's get into it. Y'all, Summer House Season 2, Episode 1. We meet everybody. Everybody's coming in the house. We see Jasmine. We're seeing Preston. We're seeing Jordan. We're seeing Amir. We're seeing the whole crew, everybody. I want to first start off by saying, you know, I'm so sorry for your loss, Preston. You know, it was really unfortunate seeing that. And you were holding up, you handled yourself pretty well going through this process. I was also happy to see that you had support from your friends, from your castmates. That was very touching to see. How was your first day being back on set?
Hard, honestly. Like, it was incredibly hard. I tend to be a rational person. I won't say calm all the time because I don't know if that's true. But I tend to be logical and I tend to be rational, usually for me, meaning that if I am upset about something, I know the person or the issue that I'm upset about, and I'm going to direct it to that person. I think with the example, even with like Bria and I, like that was an example where I knew she wasn't really the issue, but I was pissed. And so the person who was going to say my name was going to get that response. And honestly, I think that is like, honestly, like a totality of how I was feeling, right? I had some great, really good moments where folks were very positive and affirming, and I was able to kind of work that out. I had other moments where I'm like, whoo, I could feel me getting irritated. like I can feel it happening. And that's really how it was, right? It wasn't bad. It wasn't good. But it was difficult. It was a difficult day. Because I think the day leading up to that, like the day before, is when I had found out about the funeral. And this is after me contacting family members multiple times around it and just being ignored multiple times. You know, the part that didn't make air, right? Like there were issues that we had with insurance companies where his side of the family were like contacting insurance companies and say we weren't in contact so they could give them the money. Like it was a lot. And obviously, right, you can only show so much on TV, but it was a lot happening. And so like I was still trying to make the decision what made the most sense, because some of my cast members will tell you and some of my friends will tell you I was considering not coming back. Like it was just, even with an estranged relationship, it was just so much in that moment that it was like, like people are used to me being my normal, rational, logical self. And now I'm just emotional, right? And that can be like a mixture of feelings. And, you know, one thing I did not want, right? And I think people would have overall understood, but I didn't want to come in being like the likable person because of my rational thinking, my calmness, whatever, to being like a bitch, right? Like that, those are two opposite extremes. I think the latter still is understandable given the condition, but that's just not who I am naturally. So it just, you know, it was difficult. I'm grateful to get through it and got a lot of support from production. And so like, I mean, including cast, but like production really checked in on me every single day. And I just really appreciated that. And honestly, and that's what helped me really realize I was going to continue.
It was very admirable to see that you were completely open about, because I was in a similar situation, but I was much younger when my father passed. We did not have a close relationship like that. And I carried a sort of guilt with me because, you know, when he passed away, I don't feel that I was affected as much as a person is supposed to be affected by a death of a parent. And I was like you in a way that, you know, he was in and out of my life. He, you know, he was always there financially, but he wasn't like a father. So it's like going back and forth in between those emotions of I am grieving in a way because, you know, I will never see my father again. But at the same time, when he wanted to reconnect, it's too late. And also, like, you were the parent in the situation, and I felt that it was your responsibility to try and get to know your child. And you made me, and I'm here. And then also I had that same, not the same situation, I don't want to compare it to yours, but the other side of my family made it very difficult when he did pass. So it's like I'm angry at him for one, passing away, two, not being there for me, and also three, like the other side of the family is making something that is already devastating for me even harder. So for you to you know, come on the show, you could have came on the show, mentioned that your dad passed, and you decided to continue with it, but you opened it all the way up. Like you were like, straight up, we did not have, you know, the best relationship. And when he did want to connect, it was kind of on the later side. So it was just something that I've never seen before. And also just being a Black person in general, you know, that parental relationship is strained for a lot of people. So for you to be honest about that, I really thank you. And you're strong in sharing that and showing that. And I just never related to like just losing someone is hard, but losing a parent is complicated. And you showed me that it's okay to still have these feelings, like they are not absolved of what they did just because they unfortunately, passed away.
Absolutely. I thank you for sharing all of that. I don't, I have so many of those feelings that you just named. I don't know if y'all were able to see the first 5 minutes and like 12 seconds were just released for episode 2. And it continues a little bit into this conversation with Amir and myself, because Amir, after the boat party, had asked me like, how are you feeling? And I was like, I guess I don't know how to feel other than just moving on, because, I was more honest about, not more as if I was less the last time, but I was just honest around the reality is when he died, it was truly, to your point, it was like I'm grieving, but it's also just the fact of what just happened. Like it will be different than like my sister's passing, who I'm close with, right? Like, I would be bawling, right? And, and I was actually surprised during the green screen when I cried, because I didn't cry a single point in time when we were filming around my father. It wasn't until like I was with the green screen interview when I'm kind of sitting there answering questions, and I'm like, oh, where's this feeling coming from? Like, this is a lot. Because they showed something, but I was like bawling in green screen at one point, because I think it was just like everything that I was actually feeling came out, and it wasn't all sadness. A lot of it was anger.
Right.
And so, it is like a very, and me and again, we talk about this, and I'm only sharing this because it already did come out, and I imagine, right, we'll see the episode already. But I remember one point I even said to them, I was just like, but I will never forget telling my father when he tried to come back to my life that I was gay. And he literally said no exaggeration, his first word to me, I didn't raise you to be gay. I don't remember you raising me ever. So like, this is a very interesting statement that you're making. And so like, I'm happy that I'm able to kind of like laugh about it in some ways.
Yeah.
But it's also interesting because I love Black folks, and I really want us to all seek therapy immediately, right? Because the truth is, we lie so much about our dynamics with our parents and our family members because we're kind of told we have to. And I want us to just like strip ourselves of that response, because we are like crumbling inside, because not only do we not have the good relationship, we're lying about having a good relationship just for the appearance of public. And I just don't have that in me anymore. Like I don't have that in me to like lie about someone because they passed away, right? If you were worried about how you will be viewed at death, I need you to be kind at life. And that just doesn't happen for a lot of us.
Exactly.
So
You're kind of taught to keep it in the household, because I remember when my dad passed, I went to school the next day, and people were just like, I had told some of my friends, and they were like, why are you not at home? And I'm like, well, you know what? That is a good question, but it's like, we weren't really close like that. Versus when I lost my best friend in 2018, I'm still not okay from that. So it just depends on how they were in life, and you're not they want you to, some people want you to lie about it because that's your father at the end of the day. At the end of the day, like Lorilla said, at the end of the day, the day go in, and whether it's there, it's there. Okay. But I just really wanted to say that I see you, and I really like appreciate that part, and I don't want to harp on this. I do want to go on, but that was just, it's such a huge part of the episode, and I just thank you for sharing all that. But let's get into, go ahead, Aaron.
Y'all are cutting onions right now. Like, oh my gosh. But, I just to wrap that up, I do want to say, like you said, therapy is very important. And I do wish that our parents would take that into consideration, because I know sometimes even when I bring up therapy with my mom, it's like a whole like, oh, we don't need fixing. Like they turn it into something else. And I'm just like, everybody can use therapy. It does not matter how old you are. You don't have all the wisdom in the world. Okay.
Baby. So, look, we can talk for hours about that alone.
So I'm shutting up.
We're going to put a bow on it. We're going to put a bow on it, and we're going to move forward, because I really want to get into the back and forth between you and Bria at this table. what was going on? Were there things that we did not see? Because I understand.
Please.
Listen, I
I'm
get how
glad
Bria
it's
gets.
funny watching it back because, editing naturally happens, right? It has to. But when I tell you that was actually in real time what happened, like, I feel like nothing was edited in that moment. It was the quickest argument and resolve I think I've ever gotten into in my entire life, to the point where someone literally tweeted, and it was actually funny. They were like, Bria must really respect Preston because I've never seen her resolve something that fast.
It was also just like how it started. It was just like she was talking to somebody else, and then she's like, if you want me to go, I can go. And I'm just like, wait, hold on. What did I just miss? Like, I agree. What?
But you know what? I am glad I'm self-aware because it really wasn't just Bria. Like, to me, it was like everything that was happening because none of it started to make sense. Like, that's why my first response is, what the fuck is happening right now? Because, like, Jordan opened it up about something very specific because, and I don't even think she got a chance to actually talk about what she really was wanting to say. Because the reality is, her and Alex, they didn't really get along that well the prior summer. And so they since resolved it, the problems over that time. And so she was shocked she did not get invited because she's, I thought we were actually cool because I just invited you to my party I just did a month ago. That was what she was saying. It turned into like all this other stuff. And I'm just like, okay, no one is listening to each other. And that's what happens in this house a lot. We kind of just talk over each other and argue over each other. And coupled with, obviously, me loving crab legs. I'm just like, I don't have time for this right now. But it was just when I said, oh my God, because I was just exhausted with the entire argument or conversation is probably putting it lightly. But over the conversation, I don't think I lost it until I heard my name get mentioned specifically. And I was like, all right, now let's go.
And you put that finger up too. Preston put that finger up, and I was like, oh, it's about to go down. Bring it on fucked up.
All my homies from back at home in Ohio, they're like, oh, I saw our hometown pop out so fast. Like, sorry, y'all.
It's like you in danger, girl.
It is. It's shocking to watch, but we love to see it. Yeah. And I just know it's Bria a Pisces too.
No, I am the only water sign in that house. It's wild.
That's very shocking.
Very surprising.
So pray for me, y'all. No, Bria's actually a Gemini.
Okay. Okay. Next question. Makes sense.
That makes perfect sense. But I knew that wasn't going to last long too, just because of your relationship with her. It's like y'all joke around, y'all, make fun and poke fun of each other, but it's all in love and all of that good stuff.
We're very brother sister. I mean, so just so I'm honest, Bria and I do get in a few arguments this season. We do. But you know what? The truth is, Bria is my girl, and I'm very sincere when I say that. Like, she is a handful. She is a lot, but there's something that I truly find special about Bria. And I realized too, part of it is our ages, right? Like, I mean, thank you for moisturizer, melanin.
Like Don Crack, yeah.
No, but I'm 38. And the reality is I'm one of the oldest, with the exception of Nick. Nick and I are the closest in age. We're like a month apart. And there are some things that I remember probably reacting similarly when I was younger. And so, like, part of me wants to just give grace to just growth and, like, being able to actually figure certain things out. And then other parts of me are like, oh, I don't have the patience for this right now, actually. Like, I genuinely don't have the patience for this. And kind of recognizing when I need to realize that. Because some of that means, okay, just ignore it and walk away. Other parts are like, you know what? I can't let you do this for much longer. So let me solve it right now for everybody.
And you did just that.
Great resolve. It was just like, and that's also the kind of resolve that I want to see between people that I favor a lot, because it's like, oh yeah, I want the drama, honey, I want the dark, I want so, but I also want you all to resolve it quickly and fast, because I don't want it.
Ruins the night. Like, it ruins everything.
Right.
The meme that was created out of it, though, I'm sorry, I've been wearing it out. And it's been the meme where I'm literally holding my crab leg and turning around. I have seen it so many places, but because sometimes you have to laugh at yourself. It's like you were tripping in that moment.
But that's definitely like the summer vibes. Like I just want to be drunk with a crowd leg in hand.
Yes,
and if my homegirl is tripping off the Casamigos, then I'm gonna let her know she's tripping.
What the fuck is really going on?
Like what? I know that wasn't directed at me. Like like you were so shocked, and I'm like, I get it. Like that couldn't have been for me.
And it's also so hard to see y'all fight because it's like we love everybody in this house. Mm-hmm. Like I've never seen a show where I'm like, I like everybody. Mm-hmm. Besides like Housewives of Atlanta. But like
because everyone is there for a reason, right? There's like a dynamic where it's like, you know what? Even if they get on my nerve this episode, I know I'm gonna like them next episode, right? Like just like real life. Like I always hope that people watching our show can see versions of themselves in it, because the reality, it's just the truth. Like you have hard moments, you have good moments, right? Every day is gonna be a different day, how you show up, right? And how you show up is gonna be dependent on how someone treats you or how you're feeling in the moment. So, you know, I always can appreciate everyone on our show, honestly.
And y'all are in one house for 15 days straight, which is insane, because it wasn't until like when I go to post the memes that I have to tag all y'all that I'm like, oh, I'm not missing somebody. It's 10 Black people in one house for 15 days straight. Iconic. I do want to know, like, do you like the format of you got the 2 weeks to film and then it's over with? Or would you like on White Summer House, would you like the back and forth where they kind of show you guys sometimes in the city and then go back each weekend? Like, would you like that format also?
You know what? I think I prefer our format, our current format. Yeah, because it's kind of like once you do it, you're done. And that's kind of it, right? Like, I mean, you obviously go back for green screens and additional things, but I will say it also, to me, likens to what an actual vacation is, right? Like you're away and then you go back to your respective homes. That's kind of what it is. I will say that part of it will be cool to kind of figure out people's individual life stories, because what we know is each other on vacation, but that's not the same thing as knowing how someone is when they're back in New York or back in DC or back in LA. And I think that would actually be pretty cool about it.
Yeah, I guess White Summer House's format only because I get to see what they do during the week. But I feel like with Black Summer House, you are literally there and there's no break. Like if you get in an argument with someone, you have to party with that person that night. Right. Yeah. You have to be with them for those days. So it keeps you in the experience. It keeps you in the emotion. It keeps you authentic. So that format is also more entertaining to watch, honestly.
It's intense. You're right.
Yeah. It's smart. It's a little sinister.
On that other summer house, on the other summer house, White Summer House, it's just a little bit, and I think they have too much time sometimes, because they'll come back to the house and they're like, "Oh, what were we even mad about?" Like, I don't know. They're like, "No, get into it. Let's."
We love White Summer House, by the way. Like those are our homies.
Yeah. Those are our homies. Because I'm always remember why I'm mad about something.
Right?
I'm like, nope, hold on, because on June 2nd.
You got to write it in your notes so you don't forget.
I'm like, let's run that Ring camera back real quick.
How does the second house compare to the first house? Because I know I'm looking at those bedrooms and I seen you get your own bedroom and I'm like, I do not blame Preston.
And then the rest of the boys
seriously, shout out to Jordan, Jasmine, and Summer about that, because I was so grateful for that.
Because and then I don't know that's my other question. Where are they putting their clothes? Because Nick has took over.
Nick took everything, and they had some stuff down there still. Like all of those closets weren't Nick's. Most of them were, though. Some people had stuff in my closet. Honestly, they were kind of spread out.
Right.
But you know what? There's versions of both houses that I like better. Why I like our second summer house better, though, is because we were more in the city, so there's a few different parts of Martha's Vineyard, right? There's Oak Bluffs, which is like the more historically Black part. There's Edgartown. Last year we were in Edgartown. And it was obviously kind of off peak season. This summer, not only were we in Oak Bluffs, we were also there during peak season, which means that we were like, it was quicker to get around to stuff. Like you got to see a lot of Black folks everywhere, like everywhere we would go. So there was something that felt more like the Vineyard experience, that felt a lot better this time. I did prefer the rooms for the most part better last summer. But this summer, I think the amenities were better. We had like a lot more activities outside. Our pool was bigger. Our jacuzzi was chef's kiss.
Mhm.
So, and I liked our kitchen a lot more this summer. Our kitchen was much better this summer.
I could tell because that outdoor area, I'm like, oh, this is a little bit more, it seems.
Oh, yeah. Except for the trampoline. I wish we didn't have the trampoline because I know there was only so much they could show, but I genuinely sprained my ankle day one.
Yeah.
Because it looks fun, so you want to get on it.
Right. But I actually, like, the medic had to come out day one and wrap and ice my ankle. Yeah. So, like, there are parts I'm probably limping throughout the season because it was hurting for the entire 2 weeks. Like,
oh, no.
Listen, they would have to call the ambulance for me. Okay. So, you know that we are not messy in a malicious way, but we are messy in a way that we are going to have some fun questions. This may not be fun, but I'm very nosy in the part of how many group chats are there within the group?
Oh, that's a good question.
Because we're talking about how some people didn't get invited to certain places.
And I'm happy to talk about that too, even. I'm happy to talk about that too, even. But honestly, I think I'm in like 4 or 5. So yeah. Yeah, because I'm in the big one with everyone. I'm in one of the guys' ones, which is so fascinating to me because I'm like, child, I'm a whole punk. Y'all ain't got to include me in this. So
the big one with everybody, the guys, the girls.
And I'm in one of the girl ones.
One of the girl. Y'all hear this?
I'm actually in like 2 different versions of the girl.
I can see this though, because you are literally friends with everybody.
Yeah, I feel like you're in every. I don't think that there is a group chat that exists without you in it. In my mind,
yeah. Well, I'm sure there's one. Well, I know there's one. I know there is one with all the girls, and I'm not in that one.
Yeah, but that's not the popping one, you know? No, like, it's just like, hey, girl, what do you wear? Oh, okay. That's probably that group chat. So I want to know, were you invited to all these events? And what is this website? Because we're going to have Alex on eventually. But, what is this sign up, this email list, this...
fill the space.
Substack.
So here's the thing. I don't need to be invited to all the stuff. I'm never upset when people don't invite. I'm like, okay, y'all, thank you. Because I need to go nap. I need to take a nap right now. So don't feel bad. But the reality is I did understand why some people felt a way about it, only because, people were kind of confused on people's relationships. So they were like, oh, I thought we were closer than what we were and we live in the same city. Why would you not think to invite me? For me, I am grateful to say that I don't really have to have, because I live in DC and I'm the only person that lives in DC. So it's easy for me to just invite everybody and be like, whoever shows up, shows up. And genuinely, I would like everyone to show up, like if they can. Like I like hanging with everybody. But yeah, so that's interesting. But Fill the Space really is a group that's curated by Alex and a few other people. It's like singers, songwriters. It's mostly like a good vibe check from what I hear. I haven't been. But I do know people who are on the show and not on the show who've gone. They like it. But they're all in New York, right? So there is a subscription that you can sign up for to receive updates where you will know, which is his point. Obviously, their point was like, but people did get invited who aren't subscribed. So it was just like all circular. But that's really what it is. I've never been, mostly because I live in DC and I just haven't had the time to go up when I did know about some things. But that time I was not actually invited. But I also just didn't. I mean, Alex and I are cool. It's also just like, I don't, we live in different cities. Invite me if you want me there. If you don't, I won't feel bad. Because there was also times like, I don't know if y'all may be familiar with Everyday People. It's a party, like it's a party kind of all over now, but it's mostly like
Mm.
LA, New York. They kind of
I heard of that. Okay.
lit. If you ever get a chance to go,
I heard
please
it,
go.
but I wasn't. Yeah, I wasn't able to because we're in South Florida.
Okay,
So if they
yeah.
do like Miami, sure, but
Yeah.
it hasn't.
And that makes sense. Yeah, they're expanding quite a bit. So hopefully they are somewhere in South Florida soon. I don't see a reason why they
I
wouldn't
hope
be.
so.
But they've definitely been like LA, DC, New York, Atlanta,
Mhm.
etc. And you know, one time after we actually wrapped up filming, Alex was like, "Oh, I'm going to Everyday People. You want to roll?" And I was like, "Sure." And we went to party together, right? So like, and that was just us two. So
Like a
there
spur
are
of the moment kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah. And I just happened to be in New York already that weekend.
Oh.
So, you know, but I'm never really offended when I don't get invited. So I'm like, child, I got so many friends. I'm not, whatever. Like, I will be okay. It's fine. But I do understand why some people be in a bag about it a little bit.
Mhm.
Yeah, especially if they don't know how to don't tell me to refer to an email when we doing
Alex was just trying to save himself.
Friends.
How did it feel like? I know that our time is coming to an end very soon. It's literally felt like 5 minutes.
Right.
But how did it feel? Another messy question. When Summer dropped that bomb and y'all had to continue eating the seafood boil with the two Old Bay, the two Old Bay packages in it. My pressure went through the roof, but it looked so good. It looked so.
When I tell you that,
good.
it really was good. Because Bria was like, "Tell people the food was good." I said, "I've already been saying it. Like the food."
Listen,
honestly,
because they were.
The food was good. I can't lie, but you know what was the best part? Noel's butter.
I know.
Did she do like a garlic butter thing?
I seen the way she was hooking that butter up. She had like 4 sticks in that bitch with the Old Bay seasoning. I was like, man.
And that's how I make my butter.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, look, I was like, let me get a bowl of this, pour it in my own, like my own bowl.
A real crab boil.
But it was all of our facial expressions were so sincere because of course, many of us already knew what was happening. We already knew, you know, they were engaging biblically. So, you know, it was just a lot in that moment. But to say it, I was like, oh my God. We literally are like just eating. I think that is like the part of literally our summer.
Like right in front of your salad.
And listening, I was watching at work. I literally watched that work, and I was like, "Oh my God!" They were like, "Are you okay?"
And it hit. Let me tell you that it hits every time because I watched it when they sent it as a screener, and like as soon as they said Black Summer House in the email, I was just like, "Okay, I'm watching it," and then she said it, and I was like, "Oh."
Right. It's like you have to gasp, but like it is a collective gasp.
And then I was just like, she really got it popping. And then I love the way that Jordan, instead of saying like, hey, what the fuck was that about? Because Jordan's a Capricorn. I'm a Capricorn. One thing about it, if my friend has some shit to get off her chest, she's gonna get it off her chest. So they're just like, it's like two delusional girls telling each other exactly. And I got it. So you guys like all had different expressions. I'm just like, hang this in the Louvre. But what was like the environment like when y'all had to sit there and like, you know, how do you get back to the fun?
Right. No, it's both. So that's why. So it was tense, but not like in an angry way. I think we were just all genuinely shocked. Like, where do we go from here, actually? So that's why actually my response genuinely was, hey, can we pivot and go inside at least? Because
he was like, my ankle hurts.
Right. I'm like, so I'm kind of like the wind is blowing, it's hurting my ankle a little bit more. So,
but I felt you because I'm like, listen, it's too much going on. You were trying to enjoy your crab legs. You had just got into it with Bria. Like, let's stop for a second.
Like, that was the first night, so right?
First night. No, that dinner needs to be on. That dinner needs an Oscar. Because I tell you, it like I know watching it, it's probably like cringy, funny. Oh my God! But in the moment, it was like, y'all, we need to all reset.
Insane.
It was giving like the Salt Lake City finale. I was like Meredith. I was like.
Why do you look just like her? Why is that going to be
I practice a lot.
No, I'm not even. I was laughing with our producers there because they were like, "Okay, y'all came to work. Everybody can go to bed early if y'all want to." Because it was clear we were all exhausted at that point. We were like, "Oh my god!" Like, because think about it, we had just flew in that day. Like, it's not like we flew in and then we rested and then the next day. No, this is like the same day we flew in. So it was
literally the first night. And then that's why I was like, they are back with a vengeance. Like, I would immediately, like, if I was Andy, I know in my head, Andy Cohen does all things. So if I was Andy Cohen, I was like, yeah, get them 3 more seasons here, right now, period.
Right now.
Like, right now. But so what else can you tell us without obviously spoiling any NDAs about one, is anyone going to have any romantic connections in the house? You don't have to name people, but just within the house, is there going to be any romantic connections? It doesn't have to be like, someone else with someone in the house, but just even if you go out, like, is there going to be any bringing home? Some vibes. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
And my question is,
yes, Aaron.
The last, because we're getting down, Jordan and Jasmine, what do you feel about this? What the hell is going on?
Yeah. So this is my honest but can answer, and this is but honest, is that I really do hope they can kind of resolve whatever like the issue is. I just don't know if they're really hearing each other, and the reality is they were homegirls. Like, I really, really desperately want for their friendship to be rekindled.
Me too.
I also kind of hate that Jasmine feels excluded because that's not true. Like, it's actually just not true. The reality is, I think a lot of us were not comfortable with the Jasmine that we saw last summer. And it did make all of us, if we're being really honest, I don't know if everyone will, but I'm going to be honest for us because I've talked to them, is to say the reality is we all didn't know how to navigate around her. And so there were moments where there were already tension, and people, when we went to Jamaica, for example, we had a very open conversation about whether she should come, because we were like, maybe she needs a break, maybe she wants, et cetera. But people were like, but there's clearly tension and people have not talked about that yet. So you don't then want to bring the person who people feel is the center of that on a trip. Like, it just wouldn't make sense. And so, I hate that sometimes non-invitations feel like malice, because sometimes it's just not that at all. But I really do hope that they can work out that. Like, they were such good friends, and I just, I hate that this is the case right now.
I do too, because I'm so sad for Jasmine. Like, it's something about Jasmine that makes me so sad, because I'm like, does she just feel alone? And that's what it seems to me.
Yeah, but you know what? And this is just honest, and I really hope this is taken with my heart that I mean it as. Sometimes that can be true, but also I think the question has to be, where does that feeling of alone come from? Is it from us, or is it things that you may have done to make this be the response? And so I think oftentimes it's like, people are excluding, and I think the question has to be, if you feel that way, why would they? Right? Like, not just the answer of exclusion, but like the why behind why you may feel that way, and why people may be responding differently than what you're used to them responding to you as.
That's a good place to leave off.
That is the perfect place to leave off. And like Aaron was saying, I feel bad that, Jasmine feels the way that she feels, but also I sympathize with Jordan, because it was like, what was that? Like, what was really, going on? And in my head, they'll have multiple conversations and they will come to a great solution, because right now Jordan seems like, okay, the slate isn't really clean. We'll just have a different kind of friendship. And I hate that, because I want them to have like a fun, like a good friendship like they had before, and we'll see. And that is, something that I hope plays out, on camera and off camera in real life, because we love seeing you guys together. We follow all of you guys.
And to be clear, there is no beef. There is definitely no beef, and I'm happy that is true. But to y'all's point, like, I'm like, oh my God, please, can y'all take shots at makeup? Like, I want to like see this.
Turn up.
But you know what? If nothing else but faith, I pray that I think they'll get there. Just it'll take time.
Yes. And we are also, praying on that with y'all, because I really want, especially now that she done dropped the baby, not that it's an album, but that's how I say. When my friends have their baby, I'd be like, you dropped that baby yet? I want to see like Jasmine and Jordan really like on their heads, twerking, like having a good time, like, like the boat scene. So it was just really, it's a fun. I want you guys to have a fun time. And you guys are. Like, that boat scene looks so fun, even when the speaker started beeping. But we are...
Everything.
It definitely looked like everything. Like, I wanted to be a part of it. But we are wrapping up. We just want to know, like, you are such a busy, influential, iconic, funny, cool, crazy, sexy, cool person. What are you really, like, working on right now? Because you have to be swamped. So thank you for, taking the time to speak with us. But what are you working on, and what can we support?
Yeah, no, listen, this absolutely made my heart smile. So thank y'all. I do a lot of things, but I will say the biggest things I'm working on right now. So one, I'm working on my book manuscript. So halfway through with that right now. I am having new clients. So a lot of folks may not know, but I run a social impact strategy consulting firm. A lot of work that I do is on issues related to progressive policy issues. So abortion access, maternal, newborn, and child health, LGBTQ equity issues, healthcare, and racial justice largely. So I have a lot of corporate and private, and also nonprofit clients working on those issues. And the thing folks may not know is I actually not too long ago released a merchandising line through a company called Diversity Merch. So I have a lot of my Summer House, Martha's Vineyard one-liners on there. So there's hats, there's mugs, there's like, you'll find me in a crab leg and my meme on one of them. But all of that is available. It's also a part of my consulting company. So I also have my equity over equality canteen here. So you find it's available at diversitymerch.com/Preston Mitchum. You'll find it. We take all payments and you will love our shipping. It's always free. But that's what I'm really excited about as well. Yes.
Yeah.
Amen to that. Oh my gosh.
You could make something $10 more than it should be. And as long as it says free shipping.
Free shipping, I'm sorry.
It's like, I saved my money, so I may as well spend it.
Exactly. Well, we absolutely will be including that in the description, you guys. Make sure you guys follow Preston on social media. Where are you most active? Like, I know I see you on Instagram all the time. Like,
Instagram and Twitter are the two platforms I'm the most active. I'm trying to understand TikTok, but this is where my age really exposes itself, because I'm like, how do I play this video?
It's like, I like scrolling, but as far as like putting stuff on there, I'm like, I can't do it.
I don't know
what the buttons mean.
I'm so bad. But yeah, Instagram and Twitter or X. But those are the two platforms I'm the most active.
Well, Preston, thank you so much for coming and visiting with us. We want to have you back in the near future, so we will be reaching out. We have had such a good time with you, Aaron. Is there anything that you want to add?
Yes, I just want us to conclude what you're saying. Thank you so much for coming on, Preston. Y'all are all like family to us, especially you. We'll never forget our BravoCon moment, and we hope to see you again at the next BravoCon or something else. We'll figure something out.
Right. Nick invited us for a run, and I was like, maybe for dinner.
A slow jog.
We can do a dinner.
Seafood boil, because I want to be with a crab leg in my hand, knowing, that couldn't have been for me.
That part. We can do that, because I'm not running either, so.
All right, y'all.
Bye.
All right, thank y'all.